2 days later, Wulfgar received another signal, saying Cadwallon and a large cavalry force were camped only an hour east of the estate, and to assume it likely, he would attack Aikenstone very early in the morning. That night, Wulfgar pulled his forces behind the villages and out in the farmlands, where they could not be seen from the roads. The castle and village buildings were left empty, except for archers hidden in attic spaces or on rooftops. 2 hours before daylight, Wulfgar and 2 of his men-at-arms watched from the trees on the hilltop near the road, as Cadwallon and his forces approached Iarlaith and Tantivy. He saw 2 units of 3 mounted spearmen head to each village, carrying torches, to set fire to them while Cadwallon's main force continued forward. Archers in each village quickly captured or dispatched the attackers, and then built fires of straw in front of the villages, so when Cadwallon looked back, he would think his men successful in destroying the villages and killing the villagers. As soon as Wulfgar saw Cadwallon's main force head over the ridge, he turned to his men-at-arms. "Osbjorn, young Jeffers, go and signal advance." They took the small lanterns they were holding to the backside of the trees, removed the shields that blocked their light, and waved them. Slowly and quietly, the signal was passed, and a combined mounted and infantry force, at least 4 times the strength of Cadwallon's, came from behind the villages and the fields and moved towards the ridge. They fanned out the full length of the ridge, but held just below it. Suddenly, Cadwallon's men on the backside of the castle saw many lights in the marshes. Shortly after, Cadwallon's whole force headed towards the marshes at a fast gallop. "He's taken the bait, my lord," whispered Osbjorn. "Indeed, he thinks Lord Leofric and I left the castle in haste, and are trying to escape with Lady Cerridwen across the marshes. He's so sure, he doesn't even bother to leave a squad behind at the castle. Easier for us. Signal the men forward." Wulfgar's forces moved quickly in formation towards the castle. Once they arrived and passed it, those near the newly built cottages at the rear of the castle started to pull away the wagons and skids of straw bales that were placed against the cottages to hide the structures. They hitched strong draft horses to the skids of the hay and moved them to form a line parallel to the line of troops, but a good 200 feet in front of them as they faced the marshes. There were gaps in the line to allow passage of mounted men through, but only in single file. Wulfgar dismounted, followed by his 2 men-at-arms, who had earlier placed large shields on the roof with which to protect Lord Wulfgar and themselves from any enemy arrows. He went up into the attic of the middle cottage, and then up onto the roof. Wulfgar gave order to start burning the straw bale piles, to draw Cadwallon back in their direction. This would allow the men-at-arms positioned on boats in the marshes to come to shore, mount horses hidden along the far ends of the wetlands behind the walls of straw bales, and move into place behind Cadwallon's forces. They would have him in crossfire, or, at worst, backed up against the marshes. When Cadwallon took the bait and returned to the castle to see what was burning, he pulled up his cavalry behind the burning bales. The surprise on his face at seeing Wulfgar on the cottage rooftop, and the large force of infantry and cavalry arrayed before him, was hidden by the front piece of his helmet, but not hard to imagine. Wulfgar greeted him with a sarcastic tone and a laughing grin. "Well then, lad, have you come to take my castle and cut off my head? I may do so yet, Wulfgar. I have forces on the way, capable of removing any evidence this castle ever existed." "Where are Leofric and Cerridwen?" "What? So eager to take a bride that you can't wait until she is decently widowed to court her? Trust me, Cerridwen will never have you to wed. If it is the Royal Council's order, she will have no choice. They stand as her paterfamilias. "You're a fool to believe anything that snake Gethin tells you." Wulfgar stepped forward and spoke very loud to address Cadwallon's men. In the battle dress of a warlord, tall and strongly built, and wearing double swords, he was an imposing and commanding figure. "Men of Cimbria, hear my words and listen well. Your captain has deceived you.